Hello, it's Rachel at From Moments to Milestones, back with a paper pad card class. This card class features a 6x6 pad from P13 called Sea La Vie. And these are the written instructions that you would get with a picture of each card and the supplies I use to create the kits in the back. And these are the 7 cards we're gonna put together today. Thanks so much. Always thinking of you. Hope your day is special. Thank you. Hello, sending hugs. And feel better soon. So we're going to start with this one right here. And I will say that before we get started, I'm going to use a lot of, well, I've got 6 here, of Distress Oxide inks. So for blues, I have Stormy Sky and Faded Jeans. For the reds or oranges and the pinks, I've got Tattered Rose and Fired Brick. And then I have a Black Soot and a Frayed Burlap. So those are the colors that we're going to use. And this one especially has a lot of coloring for the die cuts. So I will put all these other pieces aside. We don't need the pearls or the sentiment. So here's what we should have. I think you have 5 flowers. Even the frame we're going to color. You've got some greenery and some branches. You should have 5 flowers, 5 flower centers, sand dollars, and 2 seashells. Okay, I'm going to bring in a silicone mat here, and that way we have easy cleanup. So let's start with these branches. You should have 3 of those, and this leafy piece and the sand dollar. Those, all 3 of those are going to be the frayed burlap. So we'll start there. So I'm just using a finger dauber and the ink. Now some of these die cuts may have wax paper on them, so you may want to check those. You'll probably notice right away when you start inking them if they have it. Those are just used to help the paper release from the die cuts when we cut the kits. So if you have that, you can just pull it off and discard of it. Oh shoot, I just a little too rough with that one. I'll just glue that in place. It's no big deal. Too much ink on my... Alright. There's those pieces. I'll set those aside to dry. I'm just going to spray some water and clean up that. Alright, so now let's see, we're going to do this large flower here, and we're going to use Fired Brick over the entire surface. Start in the center and work my way out. Now I thought that was a little too bright, so I'm going to take some frayed burlap and just kind of pounce it on there. Just what's left on my dauber. I didn't even add anything new. And that will just take back the brightness a little bit. All right. And then we have this, you should have, let's see, we've got these 3 left. So this is, you've got like a large, 2 medium, and a small. So for the large one, we're going to do Faded Jeans. And one of the mediums and the very small one are going to be this Tattered Rose with a hint of the Fired Brick on the edges, And this other medium is going to be the lighter blue, which is Stormy Sky. And while I have those colors out, these two seashells, one stamped in Stormy Sky, so this larger one here, and this is in the Faded Jeans. So I'm going to use that to kind of take back some of the white. I'm going to start with Faded Jeans on this rounded one. I'm just going to cover that and just get the edges. Get rid of that white center, or the white edge, not the center. And then I'm going to take, for these two, we have the Tattered Rose. And then I'm not going to add any more ink. I'm just going to touch the edges very lightly, because this can be a very bright, bold color. I'm just touching with what's left. I didn't add any more. All right, those two. And then for these two, we're going to use the Stormy Sky. And the same thing, just take away the white edges. And then on this one, I'm just going to come a little bit from the bottom, like so. All right, so now what we have left is the frame and the flower center. So you probably have one floating by itself, and the other one's maybe wrapped up in this press and seal. So, all right, so I cut right next to it. I'm going to take my tweezers and kind of pull the edge. Apologize, this keeps us from losing them. But yeah, I just pulled that back, and then I'm able to pull them apart. And then you'll easily get those out. Just a little patience. All right, so there's those. And so for these, I used black soot, but on this frame, I did add a little blue first. So I'm gonna take the Faded Jean, and I'm just gonna go through. I didn't put it everywhere, just some blue here and there. I know it looks messy. I didn't want it to be totally black. I felt like that was too harsh. So now we're going to go over with black soot. And as it dries, you'll be able to see some of that blue come through. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the centers. Oops, that one's upside down. And these may have some wax paper on there too, yep. I think I just colored the wrong side of that one. All right, got those. All right, so we have a little bit of assembly to do. So let's lay our flowers out in front of us. We're just gonna put the flower centers in them. So obviously the largest one is going to get the largest. Oh, I've got one stuck to my tweezers already. So let's put one of these small ones here. And this one's gonna go there. All right, so I'm just going to glue those down. so now I think we are ready to put this card together. All right, so we are going to start by putting down this blue paper onto the white card base. Okay. And now you have that black frame and the like floral pattern paper, and we're going to glue that floral to the back of the frame. And I didn't pop this up because I wanted to pop up the shells and the flowers, so I'm just going to glue this to the back, or glue this straight down. Oh, I just ripped my paper somehow. Hopefully I can cover that up. I don't know how I did that. I have sticky fingers. Oh yeah, that's going to be covered up. All right, so that's going to go about right there. All right, so now we are going to layer these elements in here. And I will say that on my card versus what you got in your kit, I used a different branch. This one, the die cut, maybe something was wrong with it. And so I found a substitute. So it may not look exactly like mine, but you should have more than enough to do what you want to do with them. So they may look a little different, so just play around with that. So that piece is going to go there, and I think what I'm going to do is cut this apart. So I have 4 pieces. So I'm going to stick this piece right in here, and I like to kind of lay things around before I glue anything down. Oh, maybe I want this one. This piece is going to go there. We have our sand dollar, our shell, piece coming out there. I'm not sure if I want that one there. I feel like it blends in too much, so I might put it up here. Both of those coming out of there, maybe. And this one out of there. All right, looks pretty good. So let's start with this piece. I'm just going to put glue on the edge, so if I want to move it, I could, and then I'll just glue that on. See if I can get it to stick now. My tweezers. Just let that hold for a little bit. I know I popped this up, so I'm going to put foam on that. And I think I'm going to try to cover up that boo-boo there, so nobody will know. Stick that flower right there. And the shell there. And the sand dollar there. And I think I tucked in some foam here and there to give different layers dimension. So I'll go in, that's why I'm just gluing at the bottoms so I can have that option. And this is kind of right there. And this one I have popped up as well. It's in front of my flower on that one, so I'm gonna pop him all the way up. And then that flower is there, which I'm gonna need to pump that one up too. So we'll stay over the shell. And we have this piece in here. I'm going to cut some of that off, it's too long. Go. And let's go in. I think that, nope, that didn't work. That's okay. Stuck to my tweezers, not that. There we go. So we have a flower here, and I'm going to put this one there because my placement's a little different from the original. That's okay. So that what I'm going to do is pull off the backing off a piece of foam to pick it up with my tweezers. I'm just going to tuck it in behind, maybe. It doesn't want to stick to that oxide ink because it's still wet. So let's try it this way. There we go. And then I'm going to put one behind the sand dollar. Oh my gosh, my fingers must be sticky. I'm going to go wash them. Okay. And so now I feel like everything, I probably could add some, and I probably will, behind those big petals, just so if you would mail it, they would get flattened down. And that will keep them up. Give that look of dimension. I feel like it's easier to come back and add foam after you've got it down, like so I can tuck stuff behind. So that's why I'm doing it this way. If you know exactly where you want it, you can always put that foam down first. Alright. So we have a sentiment here, and we have these flat back pearls. So mine were a little smaller in the original, so you may not need to use as many. And put one right there in the center. And pull this guy up for a minute, I think, right? Want them to be even. I'm just going to use 3, so that looks good. And then we have the sentiment here. So I did pop that up, so you're going to need either some foam strips that you can trim down, which is what I'm going to use. Alright, I have that all popped up and all the backing removed, and that's just going to go down here in this lower right corner of the card. Alright, that card is finished. Okay, our next card is Thanks So Much. And so we just have one image to color here, the seahorse, but we do have some fussy cutting to do. So you have these 3 images, this floral image and the 2 greenery pieces. So you're just going to need to use your scissors and fussy cut those. I left a very thin white border, but I didn't get super detailed. So it's up to you how detailed you want to get, if you love fussy cutting, or maybe you don't. So, and the trick obviously is to kind of hold your scissors in place but move the paper. That really is the easiest way to do it. Okay, so I'll finish cutting these out and then I'll be back. Alright, I have those 3 images fussy cut, and I did leave a little white border, and you can get as detailed as you want or as little as you want. But really, once it gets on the card, it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm going to color up my seahorse. So I used the Tattered Rose first. And then I'm going to go over with a little bit, I'm not even going to get ink on it, of the fired brick. So the softer, the better. I'm just using what's left on my dauber there. So that looks good to me. Now, one step further you could do is to add glitter over the entire surface, or you could use a glitter pen, which would be a little bit less messy. That's what I'm going to do today. So I have a Lawn Fawn glitter pen, and I'm just going to color over the whole surface. And when it dries, it'll be kind of shimmery. And I know I'm not going to see the bottom, so I'm going to stop there. And that way he has a little bit of time to dry. Alright, so now let's work on our card base itself. So we're not going to actually glue anything down to the card base yet. We're going to add the wood paper to the bottom of that rope circles paper. So just to the bottom, like so. And now you have this, and you have a yard of twine here. And I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm just going to fold it in half and make a cut. And then I'm going to do that again. So we have it cut into 4 equal pieces. And I'm going to lay one aside for later, and the other 3 I'm going to wrap around. So I'm going to get some, I just have some Scotch tape, and I'm going to get it where I want it, fold it around the back, tape it down. And I'm going to pull it, I want it tight, but I don't want it like bowing the paper, so nice and tight. So there's that. And now I can stick this piece onto my card base. I want the wood on the bottom. So there's that. And then we have this Thanks So Much rectangle. And I'll leave this up to you. I did ink just this rectangle so that it would stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to go around the edges with the frayed burlap. And that just helps it stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to put foam on the back. Pull off the backing. And then I'm going to just put this, I'm not going to put it right in the center, I'm going to offset it slightly. So about right there, centered over the rope. Okay. And then our floral pieces are going to go in this corner. You're going to have some greenery there, greenery up here, and then we're going to tuck in our seahorse like so. So I think my seahorse, I don't know if you can tell the difference here, is very bright, and this one is, I've used a little frayed burlap on it. So I'm going to do that. I just want it to match that color in the paper a little bit more. So I'm just going to use what's on there, but I think there might be too much. So I'm just going to lightly tap. I'm not rubbing, I'm just tapping, and it just kind of takes away that brightness. And that's enough for me. Alright, so I did pop this one up, or at least I'll pop up around, so I'm going to need to put some foam there so it matches the height of the, I don't know what these big ones, so it matches the height of this rectangle. So I'll put a couple just so I know, and then I'm going to put adhesive on the rest. So let's see, let's put our flower on here, and I'm okay that I can see some of that. I kind of want that. And then I'm going to tuck him down in there. Kind of forgot about that, so let's put him in. And then this piece, it's up to you. I have it stuck down flat, but if you wanted to pop it up, you could. I'm going to leave it flat. So, and then this piece is going to be, it's the same thing. It's going to be hanging off. So I need some foam here and here. Adhesive on the rest. That's not how I had it, like so. There we go. Helps if you pull off the backing. Alright, and then now I'm going to need to go in and add some pieces where it's hanging off so that it won't squish down. So there we go. And I think I'll put one behind the horse's head there. Alright, and that card is finished. Okay, I said this card is finished, but it actually is not because we forgot to add our twine. So we have a bow tied here. So I'm just going to take it and tuck it under where we wrap those around, and then I'm just going to tie a bow. So you could certainly tie a bow and add it with a glue dot too if you prefer, whatever works for you. I'm going to get the bow the way I want it to look, and then I can cut off the excess. Alright, now that card is finished. Alright, this is our next card. This is a slimline card, Always Thinking of You. So we're going to have some more fussy cutting to do this time, some inking to do, and then you have some jewels. Some of you will have flat-backed non-sticky jewels. We ran out of these spellbinders ones, so there's kind of a substitution in there. But either way, you should have 7 little jewels. So you want to set those off. We'll finish the card with those. I am going to set this stuff off to the side, and I'm going to start with my fussy cutting. So I'm going to do both these floral images the same way, leaving a small white border. And then you have this bottle here, and I'm going to cut that out but leaving no border, and I'm not going to worry about the bow. I'm going to cut that off. We're actually going to tie our own bow around it. Okay, so anything that's you're only going to see this little bit of it here, so we're mainly concerned with the top of it, but like I said, no border. So I'll get these cut and then I'll be back. Alright, I have those images cut out. I'm going to set those off to the side and bring over my silicone mat again, and we're going to do some coloring. So I'm going to start with this captain's wheel since I already have brown on my mat, and I'm just going to add, I'm not going to completely cover it, I'm just going to add some more color here and there just to dress it up and not make it look so flat. Okay. And then, let's see, I've got 2 seashells. So let's do this larger one with some tattered rose. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work so dark at the bottom and work my way, and I'm going to lift it up and get lighter. So it looks like that. And I'm going to do that same thing with a smaller seashell with a stormy sky. So working from the bottom, darker, and slowly getting lighter as I go up. Okay, let's see, what do we got next? We have this leafy piece here, which I also use Stormy Sky on, and maybe a touch of the Faded Jean. So I like to hold it and pull up, and that's how I can try to get it darker on the bottom. And I get my own shading going, like so. And then if I want, take a little more Faded Jean. I'm not sure if I did this or not, so I'm just going to use a little, just on the bottom of each leaf, just like that. Just pulls in some darker color. All right, so that is good. And now we have the starfish and these two branch pieces. So I'm going to use, find a clean spot, I'm going to use the tattered rose on these branches. I hope I'm on the camera. I'm a little worried I'm not. Okay. All right, there's those. And then for the starfish, I'm going to use the fired brick and a little bit of the frayed burlap just to tone it down a little. So that same thing, I'm just going to pounce some brown on there. All right, clean off my mat. Alright, so now we are ready to put the card together. I'm going to pull over the card base. You have this pre-made window with a sentiment, and then you have two pieces of the sailboat paper. You could certainly put this if you like this better. So I'll show you what that looks like. That's very pretty too. So it's up to you. I use the sailboats. I think maybe this time I'm going to use that side just to see. And either way, we're going to cover up the seam of the papers. So I know it seems weird that we're just butting up seams right in the middle, but it's all going to be covered up with the flowers and whatever we're putting there. So really all we want to do is butt them up and center them on the card. So that the other option would be to flip this over and glue them on like that. That would be easy as well. It's probably easier than what I'm doing. So before I push, I'm going to make sure this is covered up. Yep, we're good. So I'll put that down like so. And then I just put this flat down because some of this is popped up and I didn't want too much dimension. So if you like a lot of dimension, or maybe you're going to hand deliver it, you could certainly pop this piece up as well. Center that on there. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do our captain's wheel. And I have mine where it looks like it's kind of tucked into those windows. It's certainly going to need cut down a little bit, so it's up to you. So I'm going to kind of place it where I want it. And then I'm going to take a pencil and mark off where to cut. Now you could certainly do, cut it off like this, and it's up to you. I want to see as many of those as I can. So I'm going to chop it right there. I'm just going to take my scissors, cut it across, and then I can just glue that on there. Just like so. Okay, and then we're going to build everything else up on top. So we have this large image And this one is kind of in the front, so kind of like that. And then I think I'm going, they're kind of this one's not popped up at the bottom, so I'm just going to put some like so I can get it where I want it. And then I can put foam in behind it to create that dimension. And then we have this seashell. So that is in here. Try not to cover up too much of the captain's wheel, because I might move this over a little bit more. That's why I don't use wet glue. So up like so. And this piece is here, which I'm gonna just put a couple foam squares on, but I'm not gonna glue it down. Might make it easier to tuck things in. So it'll be like that. And then that piece can go in there. All right, and then this piece I do have popped up as well. It goes right in here. And then we have this piece right in there, like so. And you'll have your starfish, which would be fun to also put glitter on him too. That's going to go right in there, and I'm happy with that, so I'll just put a little glue. And then we have these pieces here. Oh, we have our bottle too, so we'll put these in. We've got one coming out of here, and one coming in here. Just add some more color. And so on this, what I'm going to do is start to tie a bow. So you've got this circle, and I'm going to pull it not all the way tight, but this is the easiest way to get that on your bottle, and then just pull like so. And I'm going to tie a bow. That tight. When I get it where I want it, I'm going to put a little glue so it doesn't slide around. And that'll hold that in place. And then I'm going to put glue. We're just going to see the top of the bottle. So I'm going to put glue on the back. And that gets tucked in back here, just so we can't read what it says. There we go. And now what I can do is go in and I'm going to stick these down and add in foam like over here on this edge. Just to keep that dimension going. So on there. I'm going to put one more behind them. I want the bottle to be glued all the way down. And then this one's probably too big, so let's get a small one. I'm going to tuck it in. I'm going to have to use my tweezers in between these flowers and the bottle, so we keep that dimension. All right, so there's that. So what we're going to do is finish with these gems. So it's entirely up to you where you want to put them. Maybe you want to put them around the sentiment. So I think it's pretty either way. I think the florals stand out more on this card than they do here. It kind of looks a little bit more busy. So now you can see the difference. But I'm going to go ahead and put these gems down. Let's see. Oh, I just lost that one. I don't know where it went. I'm going to have to go find it. All right. So that card is complete. All right, our next card is I hope, or not I hope, it just says hope your day is special. And so we have more fussy cutting to do. So that is where I'm going to start on this card. So I will get these fussy cut and I'll be back. All right, I have all the fussy cutting done. So let's put the rest of the card together. And one thing I will say is this piece right here may not be cut exactly the way it needs to be. So you may need to put that in your trimmer and trim away. Like, I don't know if you can see where it was a cut apart sheet where there's still some left. So I'm going to go in and trim that away. A little bit more. All right. So I have that, and that piece is going to go on to that square. And so this one, I think I inked everything but the, I inked all the papers, but I didn't ink the flowers. So that's up to you if you want to. It's all time consuming, and it's, you know, gives a different look. So it's up to you. So I'm going to quickly do these two, and then I'm going to do this wood paper. Okay, that's good. So I'll put down the orange first. That's going to go down on the white card base. And then the blue wood strip. And it's about 1/8 of an inch over from the edge. It's a little long. I'm probably going to have to cut that off and re-ink it. Okay. And we'll put this little piece onto the brown. And then I'm going to pop that piece up. Going to put that in the center of the card. All right, and now we're going to layer up all of these floral pieces. So just like so. And it's just finding, I have that piece there. So I know that that piece is I want to make sure that, so I'm going to put it like that, and then this piece is going to get tucked, oops, this way under here. And then we have this blue piece. Now in my original sample here, I have multiple layers of foam, like this is popped up, this is popped up, but I think for this one I'm just going to not do all those layers. So if somebody wanted to mail it, they could. Now these, I'm going to cut these long stems off. And they are also glued flat. So let's see, I don't think it matters. So I've got one of them in here, and one of them is popping out right there. And then this piece I cut in two. So I started to do it once fussy cutting, and then I remembered I needed to tell you about it. So I'm gonna go in and cut that little, so it looks like that, and then I'm just gonna snip right there. And really right there, because we're just gonna tuck this piece in, like right in there. I'm just gonna use a little wet glue on that one. That's gonna go in there. And this piece is gonna pop out of there. So I think I might go like that. Cut even more. Alright, and I see one more piece. This long blue piece is gonna go right. I have to cut some of that off too. Right in there. Alright. So that's the arrangement, and the only thing I'll do then is go in and add foam where it's needed. So I can tell I'm going to need. Alright, so that card is complete. Alright, our next card is Thank You. And very similar in the fact we got a lot more fussy cutting to do. So we're going to cut these images out, and then I'll be back. All right, I've got my images fussy cut. So let's get this card put together. So we're going to start with this blue floral piece, and I'm going to put that down onto the right side of my white card base. And then the blue wood is going to go on the left. And then we have this sketch circle. This is an old die cut from Kaisercraft. And that's going to go right in here. So I want where it's more bulky on this side. I want that over here in this region. So I kind of already know where I want that. So we're going to go just like so. Put that down. Oh, and then it moved. All right. So then let's layer up our images. So we have this one, which is going to go right like so. And that one is fully popped up. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to be like that. I'm not ready to put that one down yet. So then there's this one, which I also have popped up. Let's tuck that in. And go like so. And then you have two, you have one larger and one smaller. So I'm going to go for the larger, and I believe this is glued flat. So that will go back in like so. And then this piece here and this other like so. And I want to see if I'm happy with that, I get my thank you in there. Yes. So let's put that piece down. And this one, I'm just going to put glue. I can't remember if I popped that one up or not. Just going to a little like that. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off of this one. And I want to glue that down. Alright, so that's gonna go right. I'm gonna keep it inside the card over here like that. And then the thank you, I did the same thing. I'm gonna use some foam and pop that up. And then that thank you is gonna go right in here. I don't really like how that landed, so I can see that I have this turned up different on my card. So let's see, I'm just going to pull it up a little further because I don't want it sitting on top of that because that's supposed to be popped up. I'm just going to put it up there. All right, that card is finished. All right, our next card is Hello Sending Hugs. This one will go together quick. This paper is so pretty I didn't want to cover it up. So we're going to go in right away and just put down this panel here. Let's put that down. Okay. And then you should have 2 of these craft hellos and a shadow, a vellum shadow. So I'm going to start by putting one onto the shadow. And you want to go easy on your glue here because if it seeps out, you might be able to see it when it dries on the vellum. So I'm going to touch it. I'm probably going to go in with my finger and do it like that. And I'm just going to center it on there. And now I'm going to go in and put that other one on top. Alright, so there's that. So now I'm going to take that piece and it's going to go right in here. So I'm just going to put some dots of glue on the back of that vellum where the craft is. Put that down right there. And then you're sending hugs, which I'm going to trim mine down. And then that is I'm going to put some foam on it. And that is going to go right at the bottom of hello. So I'm actually going to cut my foam into 2 pieces because I don't want it to go over that L, and then I'll have a weird bump. So I'll just leave a little gap. Sending hugs right there. So there's that. And then on this card, if you want some frills or some glitter in here to kind of bring this to life, I'm going to try some frills today. Glitter also would be good. So these little they've already got some like little dot things going on. I'm just going to go in and add, there's few areas of them, glue in those 2 spots, and I better get a piece of paper out to catch them. Frills like to roll, so I'm going to, and so then you have some dimension on your card. All right. And then I also could add some glitter, so I'll show you that. So I could take that same, and I'm going to put some dots around the center of the flowers. And there's some other areas here. Maybe in the center of those flowers, up in here. And then I'll add some glitter. That dries, we'll have some pretty glisten. And this clear glitter, you could certainly add that to all these fussy cut images that we had, you know, that we fussy cut, just to add some extra bling to your cards. So there's that, and that card is finished. All right, we're on to our last card, Feel Better Soon. And so on this card, let's see, we're going to start with this piece here. I'm just going to glue that down. And this is a card that could also change the look of it if you want to add some ink. Inking is adds a really good, nice detail, but it also is very time consuming, so we opted out of that this time. So now we have this piece, which is going to go right in here, but first I'm going to add, you have 2 silver brads. So I'm going to kind of lay them upside down about where I want them. And then I've got a pencil, and I'm just going to kind of come in where the center is, and then I'm going to poke holes. So let me get a paper piercer here, and something to pierce on. Where is it? Okay, got a pad here. So there's my 2 marks. So I'm just gonna go in and make those spots. Press those in. There's 1 and 2. And open them up. Hopefully, oh, they're sticking out. Maybe I should have went the other way with them. So I just twist them around till that's hidden. I'm going to try to make them as flat as I can because I don't have that paper popped up. So there they are. And so now I'm going to add adhesive to the back. And that is about a ½ inch from this side and about 3/4 down. It's not centered at all. So that piece is on. And now we're going to have a banner that's going to come down here. So I am going to mark the middle. I believe it's 2 inches wide. So I'm just, so I'll use my grid here. It's 2 inches wide, so there's a mark in the middle. And I want to come up about 3/8 of an inch, which isn't quite a ½ inch, so I'm just using my grid to make a mark here. I'm going to take my scissors and cut up to that mark, and then from the corner to the middle, and we're going to do that again, and there's your banner. And so that piece is also glued straight down. And it's about a ½ inch from the bottom, a ½ inch from the side. So, and now you have this wood paper and a vellum strip with the Feel Better Soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this Feel Better Soon around the wood. So I'm going to center it on there, and then I'm going to wrap it around. Do that again. I can secure it in the back. So that's on there, and then that piece is going to go like at the bottom of that over both pieces. So you could pop that up if you wanted. I did not, so I'm just going to copy that first card. And then just making sure it's straight. Alright, so we've got our sentiment on there. And now we're going to add our little tag here. So we're going to put some foam on the back. And it's not really a tag, it's just a circle. And then we're going to add a bow to the top, and it'll look like it's a tag. Put that in the center like so. And then I'm going to take this. This is called burlap twine, and it is a little fussy. So I'm going to tie this bow, get it where I want it. Which is good. Mine's kind of thick on one side. I'm just going to pull some of that off and trim where I want it. And I'm going to put some glue there and add it to the top. Alright, and that card is finished. Alright, that completes this card class, this video. These are the cards that we created today. I hope you enjoyed this kit. If you're interested in one, you can check us out at our website, www.frommomentstomilestones.com, and you can search up our card kits there. This is the P13 Sea La Vie. Thanks so much for watching.